Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Fire Podcast, episode 9 here. Hopefully, on the past episode, you left some comments letting us know what you'd like to talk about. Obviously, it's not uploaded yet, but once it is, we'll read those comments and take everything into account. And hopefully we'll get to talk about some new stuff on here. But as usual, I have some topics prepared, and we'll talk about some different things. And we can just jump right on into it. As you can see, we're both wearing lightning attire right now. We are going to a hockey game tonight, so should be fun. This is your first time going to a hockey game.
Yep.
I've only been one time ever, but I remember it being fun. I think it's a cool atmosphere. They have like these little thunder lightning things go off whenever they score, so it's cool. Hopefully the seats are decent. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, should be fun. We haven't gone out and done anything in a while, so
all we do is work, honey.
yeah, we work a lot and we try and save our money, so
Indeed.
yeah, definitely. Hopefully this will cure a little bit of the burnout, but I'm feeling exhausted. I'm just so tired right now.
Yes.
I know you are too, so
Yeah, that's okay. Sacrifices for later.
yeah, hopefully it's all worth it in the end. That's the goal, at least. So I've seen this story on social media. My For You page and like everything that's directed towards me has a lot of conspiracy theory type stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one thing that I just vaguely remember about the government making it illegal to talk to dolphins. Not like specifically dolphins, but like orcas, everything in that family. Are they cephalopods? It sounds like an insect name. That could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
But anyways, marine mammals that have like large brains and are able to speak to each other. For whatever reason, I remember seeing something about the government making it illegal to talk to them. So I was trying to find more information about it so that I could talk about it today. And I ended up stumbling upon this story that I previously heard about this woman and this dolphin that lived together. Have you ever heard of the story of Margaret Lovat and Peter the dolphin?
No, I haven't.
So I wrote some stuff down here. Well, I'll go through it. It's a pretty wild story. So this lady Margaret lived with this dolphin named Peter for 10 weeks, basically in solitary confinement. They flooded this area of a building with 18 inches of water, which didn't seem like enough for a dolphin to live in, but I guess maybe it is. So anyways, they flood this place and they hang her bed from the ceiling, and she lives with this dolphin for 10 weeks straight. So let's go through it here. She would paint her face white and then outline her lips in black and try to teach him to speak so that he could see like how the sounds, how they were coming out, like where they were coming from the mouth, so that he could better understand how to eventually use his blowhole to speak. Because, through their mouth, it's like a clicking kind of sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, she paints her face so that he can understand where the sounds are coming from. And during this experiment, Peter learned to say many words such as we, triangle, one, play, and he learned to greet Margaret in the morning with hello, Margaret. He was having a hard time making the M sound for Margaret.
Yeah.
And he eventually was able to turn his body over and use the water and the bubbles to make the M sound. So clearly incredibly intelligent.
Yes.
And just reading through this story was just kind of mind-blowing. That this happened, I want to say like 60 or 70 years ago.
Mm.
This guy got funding to basically try to communicate with dolphins and better understand them. And he had 2 different laboratories where they housed a bunch of dolphins and they learned to try and communicate with them. And he went through all these different experiments. And this was one of the things that was funded apparently by NASA. So anyways, he learns all these different words. One thing that I was like just a little weirded out by. So during this experiment, Peter became sexually mature and made advances on Margaret. Peter would be transported to a tank with 2 other female dolphins to alleviate his urges. But Margaret felt that it was disrupting the experiment and would relieve him herself.
What?
So obviously they're supposed to be in solitary confinement, but Peter is a young growing dolphin who has sexual urges. So they transport him in this tank to, have sex with these other 2 female dolphins. And Margaret was like, whether she was getting jealous or whether they were building some form of a bond, I don't really know. They don't go into that much detail. Maybe there's more information elsewhere. But basically, she was like, no, this is taking away from the experiment. It's taking too long for him to be transported and then transported back. So I'm just going to take care of it myself. And it doesn't specifically say how she did it.
That's just...
But I mean, in my head, I'm assuming that she had sex with the dolphin.
I don't know how to come to another conclusion besides that.
Yeah, it's a little weird, don't you think?
Like, giving the dolphin a hand job? Like, I don't really know what else you could do. Like,
yeah, and this is a long time ago, too. So, obviously, I don't think the internet was around. There's no videos of it. I don't know if there was videos taken of it, but I want to say it was in the 50s or 60s. So it was a long, long time ago. Obviously, it was a different world back then, and there's been laws since then that have kind of halted things like that. It's pretty crazy story.
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, the guy that got funding to do the 2 laboratories and everything, he gave the dolphins LSD to see if it would make them, more easily able to understand speech. And they would be more vocal while they were on LSD, but it didn't necessarily correlate to helping them understand language.
This sounds like animal cruelty.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty weird.
Ugh. Yeah, that's terrible.
Okay, so the United States has lots of laws and things like that. But what's going through my head as I'm reading this experiment is, what other countries are doing this right now in 2024? China? Like, imagine they could have, little dolphin marines. I don't know. They're like swimming under the water, strapped with rockets or something, and attacking people. Like, I don't know where my head is going with it, but I mean, they could be used for something.
I'm not sure that there's... Yeah, I don't know.
And with the technology that we have now, I feel like there would be more of an opportunity to communicate with them and like understand their language, because they're complex beings.
Creatures.
Yeah, and they travel in pods with their families and stuff, and I don't know, they're a lot smarter than a lot of people think.
Oh, I know.
So I don't know. I thought that was a pretty interesting story. That was a little wild.
A little creepy.
But yeah, I still think that it's illegal for us to try to communicate with dolphins. Like, I literally think they made it illegal.
I guess I don't want to say that I can understand why, but that's just like a crazy law to wrap your head around.
So, obviously my brain goes in a weird direction, like seeing different conspiracy theories. So basically the government doesn't want us to talk to dolphins because they have information on something that they don't want the public to know about, whether it's a world underneath the water or whether
Atlantis.
They have information on aliens. Maybe the aliens live underwater. We don't know.
Could be a thing.
Yeah.
Could be a thing.
You never know. You never know.
Nobody ever thinks about that.
There is a very sad ending to this story, though.
Oh.
So, Peter was transported to his new home in Miami, Florida, where he was kept in a small tank with little sunlight and without Margaret, obviously. And he eventually committed suicide.
The dolphin committed suicide?
Yeah.
How?
So, every breath that a dolphin takes is a conscious decision. They breathe air like humans do, and they can hold their breath for very long periods of time. So he went up, took his last breath, and drowned himself underwater.
That's terrible.
Yeah, he was kept in confinement for 10 weeks, built this relationship with this foreign being, and then was shipped off to a small tank where I'm assuming the living conditions were probably pretty poor, and he had had enough. We established that they were intelligent beings, and then we treated him like any other animal.
Yeah, that's
which is
true.
really unfortunate. Yeah.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, it is super sad. I almost didn't want to like even write that part down.
I mean, you gotta tell them how it ends.
I know that
you can't just leave it. I
Yeah.
thought you ended it there, and then you had the sad ending. So
Yeah, it was a sad ending. It was just like, oh my God.
poor little dolphin.
Why didn't they just let him back out in the wild? Maybe he didn't have the know-how at that point to
I
be
just
let
feel
back
like
into the
it's
wild.
Crazy that 10 weeks impacted that dolphin that much.
I mean, 10 weeks is a long time to be in confinement and then be shipped to a small tank where your life is nothing.
Yeah.
He was depressed, probably.
I'm depressed for him.
Yeah, it's tough.
Excuse me.
So last night we watched the Love is Blind reunion, an hour and a half. My God, it felt so long.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely some intensely cringy moments.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts as a whole for the reunion? Were you happy with it? Were you a little upset that they didn't cover anything? Is there things that you wish they would have talked about?
Honestly, I was caught off guard that they threw like everything into the mix, like the TikTok drama, the social media, like everything, Instagram, everything was like thrown into it. Like, oh well, you had this person come out of the woodworks and say X, Y, and Z, and you had this, and I just wasn't expecting that. Like,
yeah.
They haven't done that in the past where they like, but I've watched previous Love is Blind,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been this crazy.
Well, I think maybe their NDAs were more strict previous to this season because I just feel like there was more that was leaked prior to the episodes coming out, and maybe people got in trouble for it. I don't know. But there was so much information swirling online, and also the show has grown. It's bigger now, so and maybe my like social media is influenced by me talking about it, so it's just showing me more Love is Blind stuff, so I'm just getting that information. But it seems like the show is a lot bigger now, and there's just more eyes on everything, so there's the internet sleuths looking for little clues and things.
Well, yeah,
uncovering
and I mean,
stuff.
Some people said that they felt like Sarah Ann like kind of spoiled some of the ending, and I agree. I think she did. Like, listen, I like feel weird saying this, like this person's gonna even see it, but like
Oh, we're going viral. We're definitely going viral. It's gonna happen.
I just think that Sarah Ann was not, like, wasn't a good person in that, and how the girls were saying like she wasn't a girl's girl. She really wasn't, because that's not,
came off pretty bad.
She literally went to Laura's face and like had a conversation with her and apologized to her, but like in the same fucking breath you were out with her fiance until 5-6 o'clock in the morning talking.
Yeah, there needed to be boundaries set. Like, as a adult, you need to realize when like, even if it was completely innocent, it doesn't matter. At that point, you've passed a boundary.
Yeah.
And like, they may have acknowledged their wrongdoing, but what they did was wrong, and it doesn't make it right.
They didn't handle that situation well at all. Like,
no.
Laura didn't deserve to be treated the way that she was. Like, he literally,
I was never a big fan of Laura, but I think the way things went down,
I didn't hate her.
No,
like,
I didn't hate her either.
I like them together, but he just, like, for me, it takes a lot to like bring someone to meet my family, and like obviously it's harder for me too because my family's out of state, and like, but still, like, even to meet my nieces and nephews or to meet my sister, like, those are important steps for me. So to bring someone into this, and like, I understand it's a TV show and like it's like a little different, it is a big different situation,
right?
However, you met my entire family and then made me look like a fucking fool on TV. No.
But yeah, I think the way everything went down and the way that Laura got treated in the end. It definitely sucked for her and was unfair in that aspect. Like she said, like her grandma was flying in, her 96-year-old grandma.
Year-old grandmother. Listen, Grandma Anna gets on a flight. She's 88, and she's getting ready, going on a flight to like come meet somebody who's about to just blatantly play me on TV.
Yeah.
No.
My grandma wouldn't be watching that show.
No. Yeah, I mean, if I told my grandma was on a TV show, she would watch it.
Oh no, I'm saying like I wouldn't. If I was Laura in this situation, I wouldn't want my grandma watching it.
Yeah, I would
because of the way things transpired.
But you don't think that when you're going into the experience.
Well, yeah, but she had time. She already knew what the show was going to end up looking like.
Yeah, but after you go away for however many weeks or months, you're going to tell your family where you're going.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't tell them. Just be like, watch the show.
I got no airtime, so.
Just be like, no, don't watch it. I don't want you to watch it. That's that.
I'd still watch it.
A 96-year-old woman? You're not a 96-year-old woman.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't have Netflix, let's be real.
Maybe.
But yeah, is there what other, the Trevor thing? I didn't know about the Trevor thing.
I knew about that. But I only found that out like recently about his girlfriend or whatever.
I mean, what was the point of even coming on? It's like
he wanted to be famous.
You just get blasted and then you choke.
I bet if you look him up right now on social media, he's probably got an enormous amount of followers now.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
And I'm sure that's going to make him money off of TikTok or whatever platform he blew up on. Yeah,
that's the way the world works now. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
And she was probably like in agreement with it, thinking like, oh, we're going to ride this, ride to stardom together. It's like, you did not. And he's an idiot. He's like, oh, I would have married her. Oh, we're toxic, but I was going to marry her. But I would have married Chelsea if I was with Chelsea. Like, sir.
Yeah, what's coming out of your mouth is not.
Can I leave?
It ain't lining up.
Can I leave? You are on TV acting a complete ass, living a double life, and then you come back onto TV to have a reunion, and you want to leave because you don't want to own up to what you did?
No, because he looked like an idiot, and he knew he looked like an idiot.
I wouldn't have gone on the show then.
Yeah.
They could have politely declined like Matthew did.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently AD went on a couple dates with Matthew and
no go.
Didn't work out, but I don't know. He seems just like a little creepy dude to me.
Agreed.
I mean, obviously, TV doesn't make everybody look good, but he just came off a little weird.
I agree.
I'm glad to see that Amy and Johnny are doing good.
Yes, favorite couple of the season.
Favorite couple of the season. Maybe favorite couple of Love is Blind in general.
Yeah.
Like every time a couple works out and they're happy, doesn't necessarily mean that I like them.
Yeah.
Happy for them, but Amy and Johnny, I like them as people.
Agreed.
They're both very like cool, calm, and collected, very chill, having fun type of couple.
She's crazy.
Amy?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, she's crazy.
I mean, I didn't see that.
But not like possessive, controlling, not like that. Like she's fun, crazy. I don't get the calm vibe from her. She seems more like on the wild side, but like in a good way.
I don't know. I didn't get that.
Spicy. That's what she gives me.
Maybe mild spice. Verde salsa.
No picante.
Yeah, so overall, I like the reunion. I don't really know how I felt about them having the old cast there. I didn't feel like they added a whole lot of substance. Obviously, it's nice to see like, oh, where is the old cast at in this point? But you can go check their social media. I don't think the reunion is for the season that is currently airing. That's all we all cared about.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. It kind of gives like the current cast members like something to like look forward to or look up to with the other staff or with the other cast.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of like almost like insightful for them to like see that, like see where we are now.
Maybe. I don't know. I just didn't really feel like it added a whole lot to it.
I liked it.
Okay. Well, that's why they were there. I'm sure more people liked it than didn't like it. Yeah. So that's just me. That's how I felt about it. Since we're on the whole love subject, we can hop into the relationship corner. So this week, let's see what we got. So let's talk about long distance.
Ooh.
Do you think we could navigate a long distance relationship?
Give me the circumstance. Like, are we new into this relationship? Are we living together and then we have to move into separate homes and we're continuing a relationship?
So for this scenario, let's say it's right now and I get a job offer that I couldn't deny, and for whatever reason, the place that say it's like remote in Alaska. So you couldn't get a job, but I wouldn't be making as much as we're making both combined right now. So it wouldn't be worth it for all of us to move to Alaska, but it's too good for me not to take. I'm getting paid $130,000 or something.
But you're never here.
But I'm literally never here.
And how long are you doing this job for?
It's a year contract.
Yeah, we could totally do that. We could even do it for a few years. I just don't feel like permanently I could live away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we spend a lot of time together. We work together. We live together. So on and so forth. But if there's a day that you're at work or vice versa, that I'm at work and you're not there, I can't wait to come home and see you, because I feel like my other half is missing for the entire day because you're not there.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm home and you're not here, I go to say something to you. I haven't lately, obviously, we've been on the same schedule, but previously there'd be so many times that especially after the fire, I'd look over, or I wouldn't even go to look. I just would speak and then look and realize that you're not there. Damn it. I fucking do that all the time. Talk to your not person here.
Yeah, I think for our circumstance, where we are right now, I think we could navigate a long distance relationship for a very long period of time. Obviously, if it gets to the point where we literally never see each other, then that would obviously cause some issues. But for a long period of time, I think we could navigate a long distance relationship.
I agree.
It would be tough.
It would be very tough.
But we could totally do it.
Yeah, but let's not do that. Don't take any contracts in Alaska.
So let's talk about maybe a different type of scenario. So, for example, let's say, I have one. So I had a coworker, met this girl in Orlando that hung out for I want to say maybe less than a month, and she was on a work visa, and she had to move back to Brazil when the work visa was up. So they're not even really dating at this point, but they're trying to get to that point. He ends up taking a couple trips over there throughout the year, yada, yada. How would you feel about a long distance relationship like that, where you're not even at the point where you have this strong foundation? It's more of you're still in the getting to know you type phase.
I feel like that's going to be quicker to lose faith. You know what I mean? You don't have a solid foundation from the get-go. So it's if your foundation isn't made, if you're not solid in the beginning, I feel like it's going to be really hard to maintain that so far away from each other, because you don't really know each other. You lose context or tone. You lose tone in texting. You know what I mean? I could text you something and you could take it one completely different way than how I actually intended it.
Right.
Because you lose tone in texting.
Yeah.
And even sometimes over the phone, you can't really unless you're FaceTiming all the time, you can't see the person's reaction. But even then, still
Yeah, I think for a scenario like that, it would be really, really tough. I think you could navigate it, but the amount of trust and time that it would take would make things extremely difficult, because you would have to have faith in that person that they're, not going out doing things that you wouldn't agree with, or living a lifestyle that you wouldn't agree with, but still have the time to get to know that person on a deeper level and build that foundation and that connection, even though you're not face to face.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard.
Yeah, I think that it would be hard, but I think if it's the right person, that you could do it.
Yeah. I feel like one thing that when we started dating, we got together and then we just never separated, and it was a consistent learning about each other. We we're constantly learning, like trying to figure each other out. I know I have a little tood sometimes, and I slap when I'm excited. I'm better about that now. But,
Yeah.
you know, we learned each other like quickly.
We learned each other pretty quick because we spent a lot of time together.
And that's hard when you're far away from each other.
Yeah, that is hard.
Like, I feel like we're so close and so tight because of how much time we've spent together, especially in the beginning when we were figuring everything out.
Yeah.
Even like when we were still friends, like, and we were hanging out and like
mm-hmm.
going out and partying, we'd get drunk and have deep conversations about obviously some stupid shit, but
yeah. Yeah, I think that maybe long distance would just make the growth stage of your relationship just longer.
Yeah.
But I think it's still possible.
I think it's still possible. It's just harder.
If you're invested in it, then I think it could be worth it. It could work out. But eventually, it can't be long distance forever.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just always have a long distance relationship. You need to be able to be with your partner, because there's things you could be in a long distance relationship for years, and then you finally, move in together or are able to be together, more permanently, and you could just not mesh well, and it could be a problem. So you need to have that realization before, you waste all of your time.
Yeah.
So maybe if there's a possibility of, being able to spend a week with that person and like getting to know what life is like, face to face before committing to a long distance relationship.
Because living with someone is completely different than dating someone.
I agree. It is.
It's a transition when you move in together.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out like we grew up differently. You didn't grow up with a dishwasher. We grew up always using the dishwasher. That was like one of our first like hurdles that we had to work through.
I had a dishwasher growing up.
You never used it, you said.
Yeah, I never did dishes growing up.
Oh, maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I was spoiled.
You do them now.
Yeah.
You're good about it.
I mean, my first job, I was a pizza delivery driver, and like 75% of the time I was just washing dishes.
Oh, really? That's funny. Well, maybe that's how you got into it. Just kidding.
And I mean, I was in culinary, and we always did dishes there too. There was no dishwasher there. So.
Well, I just remember when we first moved in together, you saying something to me, giving me a hard time about using the dishwasher because it wasn't something like when you went to look for the clean dishes, that's not where you went to look or something like that. So then we got away from the dishwasher.
Here's the thing. So growing up, my mom would always like pre-rinse the dishes before putting them in the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got my first apartment, I was doing my own dishes, like in my own place for the first time. It's not that I had never done dishes before.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that I was wasting time by pre-rinsing the dishes and then putting them in the dishwasher when I'm 75% of the way to cleaning this thing, and I could go twice over with the sponge and soap and it's clean instead of then just putting it in the dishwasher. Maybe it took an extra second, but I was like, well, what's the point of running the dishwasher for an hour and a half if I could just clean it right here and right now?
Mm-hmm.
So I never used the dishwasher in my apartment, even though I had one. I feel like that's where that habit came from.
Oh, I'm sure. That makes sense. But we were so like, I had a big family growing up. So we
Mm-hmm.
always had like every meal was like 6 or 7 dishes. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like the 2 of us or like the 4 of us. It was a lot of us. And it was always a big thing, like rinse, put them in the dishwasher, get it going. And then it also prevented for us having, we never had like a drying rack.
Mm-hmm.
Which like was like a weird thing for me in adulthood, because like for like the pots and pans, my mom or my stepdad would always have like one of those, like the thing that we have next to the
like
thing.
a mat towel.
Yeah, like a mat
thing.
type of thing.
Yeah.
That's what they would use. And like the drying rack to me was such like a foreign concept, because like in my head, the fucking dishwasher was the damn drying rack for us.
My apartment came with a drying rack.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But my mom always would just lay a towel out for things that she didn't put in the dishwasher.
Yeah, it's normal, I think.
Yeah. Well, drying racks have this thing where, like, unless you clean it often, it's going to get gross because water's going to drip on it, and then that water is going to sit and
I don't know
be kind of nasty.
What that, like, stuff is that comes on the bottom. It's so...
The film.
Yeah.
It's just sitting water.
I just
Water
cleaned
sits
it.
long enough, creates a habitat for fucking mold and shit,
Ugh.
which is gross, and you don't want that.
Yeah, I know.
We should just get a whole new drying rack.
I wanted a bamboo one, but I feel like that's going to attract mold really easily.
I don't know. Maybe bamboo is good at absorbing and not
When I use bamboo
holding the moisture too much or something.
skewers and stuff for my plants, they always crack. Like, with like the absorbing of the water, I'm
they
assuming.
ever grow mold?
Yeah, they turn black.
All right. Well, then no bamboo.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a couple more questions for you. Off the relationship corner. I think we covered that topic pretty well. Some nice, concise answers there. So what would your dream vacation be, and what would you do on it? Like, where is it at? Where are you staying at? And what activities do you want to do?
Depends on the time of year. Like, I do love the idea of being in, like, the mountains. However, I don't like driving in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
It's sketchy for me. It's hard because, like, I love being in, like, a tropical place because I know I live in Florida, but I wasn't born in Florida, and I guess I'm not used to, I've been here for so long, but I feel like I want to go somewhere tropical. I don't know, being put on the spot right now, I can't really decide.
My head, so here's the thing. I have travel anxiety, so, like, I don't want to go anywhere at all. Like, the thought of a vacation just stresses me out.
I get that.
Which kind of sucks because I would like to, like, get away for a little while and do something different. But yeah, it just makes me feel not so great. But if I had a dream vacation where all those worries were alleviated and, you know, I could just be somewhere, have a little guide, not have to worry about language barriers and stuff like that, I think it would be Japan.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
If it wasn't Japan, then probably Australia.
Australia would be cool. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to going to Japan. I feel like that'd be cool.
So Australia is a different story, but in Japan, you can get everywhere on a bullet train. So you could literally travel almost all of Japan in like a couple weeks. You could experience, there's just such cool little, like, niche, like, Japan style things that they have there that are so different from the culture of America.
Yeah.
Because America is kind of just this melding pot of, like, these Americanized different things from other cultures coming in. And it'd be just kind of like a culture shock and just so many cool little things that we would be able to do.
How long's that plane ride?
Very long.
That's my thing, is I'm like Auntie sitting here doing our podcast, like, me on a plane to Jersey, I'm like losing my mind. I'm like slapping I can't.
How long is the flight to Jersey?
Like 2 hours. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there like so anxious the entire time. Like, I don't like, it's not like I'm claustrophobic. It's not that. I mean, I don't like small spaces like that, and it does give me a little anxiety when I get into small spaces like that. But, like, a plane doesn't give me anxiety because of it being like a small space. It gives me anxiety because I'm up in the air and I can't get out and walk around and do what I want to do because I am, like,
stuck.
Yeah, I'm stuck. And I, like, my brain does not like that. I feel, like, agitated being, I don't know. Maybe I have travel anxiety too.
Maybe.
I just have anxiety in general.
But yeah, in Japan, I would want to go to, like, all, like, the manga stores and visit some cool, like, places to eat some genuine, authentic sushi from Japan. Just try some new stuff and go to some cool places.
Yeah, eat some fun food.
Obviously, go, like, sightseeing, go to their cool museums that they have and see some cherry blossoms and stuff. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so I had one more question for you. Have you ever heard of the term soft launch?
Yes.
What do you think it means?
Like a soft opening for something?
So there's this new term. It's not, well, obviously the term itself isn't new, but there's kind of like this new connotation to it. So if you were to say it to a younger person who's probably under 20 or around that age, a soft launch to them is to, say it's a girl in this example, to reveal her boyfriend without saying his name or his face. So basically, a soft launch would be to take a picture of him with his hand behind him, like walking towards the beach or something, and it'd be a picture of like your hands and his back. That would be a soft launch.
Wow.
For like your partner in this situation.
Okay.
So it's like this new thing of basically not revealing your partner and kind of testing the waters out to see how people are going to react to you having this new person in your life. It's like a new thing that people do.
Why do people care that much about who people are dating?
Because social media is everything nowadays.
I'm never going to be up with the times, am I?
Yeah. I think it's appropriate for somebody who already is in the public eye, say they are a social media like influencer of some sort, or they're, a celebrity in one way or another. Maybe having that soft launch is a good way for you to perceive how the PR reaction is going to be for you having this relationship. Because obviously if you're a celebrity or you're a big name, you're going to have articles written about you. People are going to want to ask you questions. So maybe that's a way to gauge things and see how they're going to go in the future.
Well, people better be careful with their soft launches. Make sure they don't have tattoos like me.
Yeah.
Because they'll look you up by your tattoos.
They'll be able to find you somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. There's always like some new slang or something going on, and it like will catch my eye, and I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I've never. I mean, like I've heard the term soft launch, but like in that, like a soft opening type of scenario, not of someone I was dating.
Yeah, it's kind of changed the way, like previous to learning about this and kind of understanding it, I would think soft launch would be a business thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're going to open at 25% capacity, or like, you're going to have certain menu items available, or whatever the case is. And now it's completely something else. But yeah, that's how the world works. There's this guy on TikTok. He's a substitute teacher, and he makes TikToks. And I think he mostly does middle schools, or maybe he does all ages. I'm not sure. But the specific video that I saw, he was talking about teaching at a middle school. And he was saying that he was creating words that he was using like in his just normal, like while he was teaching, like instead of using like a new word for me would be like, oh, that's fire. But he would say, oh, that's clip. And he would explain it to them. He'd be like, yeah, like on a podcast, when they clip something, like it's clippable, that means it's like good. So like, that's what that word is used for. And the kids would be like, that's not like a saying. And he'd be like, oh, well, the high schoolers are saying it. Like, you guys don't know about that? And every time he would make a video, he'd have a list of like 3 or 4 different words and what they mean and how he would use them in a sentence. And they're always so funny. And I'm like, I want to start using these words just so that I can be like ahead of the times.
You're funny.
Because his videos are popular. I feel like they're going to catch on.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they all made sense too. Like, they were funny in the way that he was using them. But I was like, this is something that a young kid would say. Like, this is something that would catch on. It's just funny because a lot of it is lazy words, like Riz is just charisma. Like, there's a lot of words that are just shorthand word versions of whatever the normal word is, but nobody, like it back in my high school days, like nobody's being like, oh, he's got charisma, but they're saying like Riz because it's popular to say it now and it sounds cool.
They all told me I had charisma.
Different story.
It's just because it's my middle name.
Yeah.
You taught me what Riz was.
Yeah, I think I did.
You did.
I didn't understand what it stood for a long time. I was like, oh, Riz is having like swagger. And then I found out that it was charisma. And I was like, well, it's still kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the same, yeah. Same difference.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's funny that the words that the young kids come up with nowadays, because I'll hear the kids at work saying things to each other and I'm like, this is not regular like speech.
No.
Like, where are these words coming from? This doesn't even make sense to me. I actually don't know what you're saying. It's
crazy because like you're like right in between. Like, we're talking about like the 19, 20, 21 year old servers. You're 26 and I'm 31. I was them 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to me that I am now the servers I used to work with, like the ones that I was looking to like teach me how to do things and to learn like the tricks to the trade, essentially, which is how I have been in hospitality for so long. And now we are them.
I know. It's weird to think about.
It's sick. It's sick.
Yeah, there was this guy, David, that used to work there when, like, eight and a half years ago when I first started. And I was like, oh, he's young, but, like, he's been doing this, like, a long time. And he was on the bar young like I was. And it's just kind of funny, like, the way that I used to look at him. And I'm like, oh, I'm him, but I'm older now.
Yep.
Just like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. I see myself in a lot of, like, we work different, but I see myself in a lot of the young staff. So I try to, like, give them, like, you know, the tips and tricks that the people gave me when they were me, essentially. And seems as though this generation's a little bit more hard-headed, I think.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of them that do well, and I think could do well if they were promoted to the position. So I think there are still good ones out there.
Yeah. There's
still some capacity for, getting to that level. But yeah, I think that's how every generation feels about the generations coming after them. They always kind of see it in this negative light. And it's hard not to sometimes, because you feel like you're carrying them to where they need to be, and they're not doing what you felt like you were doing back then. So,
well, some of them are not doing what I was doing back then, and that is for sure.
Oh yeah, but there were people that you worked alongside that were probably those people.
Yeah.
So there were always those people in your generation too. You're just a standout type of person.
Yeah, it's because I got stuck. I had to be good.
Well, you're not stuck. You can do anything you want in life, honey.
I'm trying to get out, baby.
You can, and you will.
I'm running.
Speak it into existence, and it will happen for you.
Yep, waiting on my business cards.
We're making strides to better our life, and we will do that through this podcast, through outside ventures, through anything and everything necessary for the betterment of our future.
Crystal wrapping.
Yeah, are you finally going to talk about what you're working on?
Crystals.
Yeah, she's wrapping crystals. She made business cards. She has a website. Check it out.
QR code below.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's why we're so busy, is we work we work in the service industry, and we bartend and serve and do the other things to pay the bills. And then we work on outside things to help supplement that income and start other business ventures, and hopefully turn it into something that's more than just a side hustle. That is something that can take over the normal job and pay the bills and be a full-time replacement.
Yep.
And hopefully the podcast can be a part of that. It's not quite going in the direction that I was hoping for, but nothing worthwhile comes easily. So
yeah,
we're going to keep grinding, and I'm going to continue to do research and try and find ways to make the show better, and hopefully keep you guys entertained and get you guys to subscribe somehow. Most of you don't. 90% of our viewers don't subscribe. So get on the subscribe train. Hit the like button. Let us know what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right, and what you want to hear in the future. But yeah, I think that's a good place to end it. We got things to do before this Lightning game, so we're gonna go get some stuff done and have a good time tonight. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in.